Hello there. Welcome to my ranking of all American wars by how necessary they were for us to get into. There are 24 wars to rank, going from least necessary to most necessary, and I'll provide a reason for all of them. Let's get into it. To start off, at number 24, we have the Pig War. The Pig War was a conflict between Britain and the US in 1859. The conflict came from joint settling of the San Juan Islands here, due to vague language in the border treaty that gave the US the Oregon Territory. It started when the US farmer shot a British guy's pig for getting into his potatoes. This led to two hot-headed US idiots sending troops to the island, which caused Britain to send troops and almost led to an actual war until cooler heads prevailed. Overall, completely unnecessary conflict, and to be honest, I only included it in here because it's kind of funny. I recommend the oversimplified video if you would like to learn more about the Pig War. The link should be in the description of this video unless I'm an idiot. Anyway, next war. Number 23 is the Philippine-American War. This was a war between the US and Filipino rebels over American occupation in the Philippines. I put it so low due to the fact that we're being an imperialist empire and acting like the British acted towards us during the revolution. Not cool, United States. You shouldn't violate our ideals like that. Our next wars are at 22, 21, and 20. I grouped them all together because they're all the Seminole Wars. The later they are in the order, the less necessary they are, but generally tied. These wars were basically about the U.S. Being stinky imperialists and expansionists and expanding into Florida to force their ideals onto the Seminoles that live there. Again, not cool. At number 19, we have the Iran War that's currently happening. This war is just us teaming up with a country that is allegedly, for legal reasons, doing a genocide right now and attacking another country with a culture we don't like to get their oil and justifying it as a holy war. This also loses points because the president that started it promised us no new wars, it's driving up gas and oil prices, it's costing us a lot of money, and we're losing despite the fact that our president is claiming we're winning. At number 18, we have Tecumseh's War. This is another war of America's stinky expansionism versus the Native Americans in our path. The only reason it gets this high is because it wasn't just us being the jerks, even if the Native Americans were kind of justified in it. At number 17, we have the Iraq War. This was our war against Saddam Hussein and the terrorists as an anti-terrorism response to 9/11. Well, that was the official narrative. I think we all know why we were really there. Say it with me now. Oil, that's right. Number 16 is the Vietnam War. This is a dumb war for a couple of reasons. Firstly, the domino theory is looking kind of stupid right now, so the war isn't super justified anymore. We're also committing lots of war crimes over there, and we're still losing. We're wasting people on this war, and people are real mad about it. At number 15, we've got the Russian Civil War. Now, you may be asking me, Jackson, why are we involved in the Russian Civil War? And that is a good question. I'll answer it with another one. Why are all these guys also involved in the Russian Civil War? And the answer is mostly about fear of communism. The reason that it's less dumb than the Vietnam War is we weren't there as long, so fewer casualties. At number 14, we have the Spanish-American War. This is another war of America being stinky imperialists. The reason this is so high, though, is that there might be a justification for going to war if the USS Maine incident was not staged, and it also made us a good global superpower. Number 13 is the Quasi-War. Why is this so high? We didn't start it, and all we did was affirm our neutrality and got a bit chummy with Britain, and God forbid we do what benefits our country. Why is it so low? We really did not need to retaliate, and we probably could have worked something out with France. Okay, we're halfway there. At number 12, we have the Afghanistan War. I guess it could be considered to be justified as we were there to liberate them from the Taliban, but in reality, we spent 20 years in a place known as the Graveyard of Empires, and were surprised when we lost. Also, we kind of just destroyed everything there and didn't even accomplish our goal. 11, the Gaza War. We got involved in this war after the Hamas attacks on Israel and initially aided Israel. I put this so high because we were showing our support for an ally, which was Israel, and we didn't yet know that they were doing a genocide yet. Top 10 now. At number 10, we have the Korean War. This gets into the top 10 because 1, we're helping out an ally and trying to stop an invasion, and 2, this is like the first time we ever tried containment, so we didn't know that the domino theory was just straight up wrong. I'll give them a pass on that. Can't blame them for not knowing. Number 9 is the Bay of Pigs invasion. This is number 9 because we are helping depose a tyrannical dictator just 90 miles from us. I'm not going by how well it worked because if I was, it would be way lower in the ranking. The reason isn't higher because it was awfully interventionist and kind of went against what Daddy Washington wanted for us. At number 8, we have the Mexican-American War. Now, I know this also goes against Washington's farewell address, but this war was kind of going to happen anyway. Ever since Texas just decided that it wanted to be part of the U.S., Mexico was angry at us and wanted it back. And then there was that border conflict when Texas eventually was annexed. Kind of inevitable and kind of necessary because we were attacked. At number 7, we have World War One. The entirety of this war could probably be considered unjustified, but us joining was the most necessary part of it. Our entrance ended the war with a boost to the side of the Entente, or the Allies, and we only entered because Germany was not playing nice with our stuff or conventional warfare in general, and also tried to get Mexico to attack us. That's why it's number 7. Number 6 is the Russo-Ukrainian War. Our involvement was actually pretty necessary to maintain the balance of power in Europe, the precedent of countries not attacking each other and claiming ancestral territory, and also protecting allies. Great job, Biden. Number 5 is the Gulf War. I put this up here for the same reasons as the Russo-Ukrainian War, with the protection of allies and status quo and the balance of power. But this was even more necessary because, unlike with the Russo-Ukrainian War, we and our allies decided to try and keep going and maybe discourage any future invasion. Also, we put more effort into liberating Kuwait than we did Ukraine, so that gets more points. Number 4 is the War of 1812. This was super necessary because it was an attack on our territory by a country much more powerful that we had had problems with before. This was moved to protect our sovereignty as a free democratic nation, as well as the people of the United States. At number 3, I put the American Revolution. This was a war against tyrannical occupiers to assert our rights as a free and sovereign nation of the world. We established a democratic system for the people and cast off the chains of the king and monarchy to create a society where all men were created equal. It only loses points because it was maybe about preserving slavery as well. So that's not very good. And number 2, we got World War II. I think all major wars should strive to be as justified as World War II. This was a war preventing radical expansionism and nationalism. It was also about stopping a genocidal maniac from taking over the world for racial reasons. To top it all off, we and some of our allies were also fighting another war against crimey nation who was also trying to take over the world for racial reasons. The only reason that this loses the number 1 spot is debates about the ethics of ending it with the dropping of the atomic bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So that means, at number 1, we have the American Civil War. Once again, this is a great example of the kind of justified all wars should strive to be. This war, at least from the perspective of the Union, was about 2 noble causes, preserving the Union and ending slavery. These are great causes to go to war over. Also, we didn't fire the first shot. So we have the additional points from not being the ones to start it. Because contrary to what a Southerner may tell you, this was not a war of Northern aggression. This easily, in my opinion, wins the title of most justified American war. So that's my list. If you happen to know any more wars that you would like me to cover in another list, just let me know and I will be sure to ignore that suggestion because this was a lot of work and I don't want to do it again. Okay, bye.